that is so modern with employer branding that they now have both internal and external employer brand managers in their employer branding team. Having worked with them for a few years in strategic employer branding, I have admired their modern attitude and openness to growth and the enthusiasm to learn and do and just try and test and just go for it. So I wasn't surprised when they recently decided to divide their employer brand manager role into internal target audience and external target audience related responsibilities and take employer branding even more seriously if possible. And last week on this podcast, we explored the career pathways in HR marketing versus traditional marketing. And this week, I want to introduce you to these two sides of the same gorgeous coin, the roles of the internal and external employer brand managers. I think both equally carry the torch for a company's reputation as an employer, but from different angles because they target and focus on different target audiences. As said, the internal employer manager focuses on the internal target audience and the external employer brand manager focuses on the external target audience. And for HR professionals, talent acquisition specialists, and marketing gurus, understanding these roles is not just crucial, I think it's career defining. And with that, I welcome you back to another episode of the Building a Modern Employer Brand podcast. And if you have just found this podcast, I am so happy that you're here. And I want to welcome you to this world of modern employer branding. My name is Susanna Rantanen, and I'm one of the top employer branding, marketing, and communications experts and influencers in Europe and hopefully in the whole world. And my husband and we founded one of the top 10 employer branding agencies in Europe, that is called Employer Branding Agency Emine. So in addition to sharing my insights and expertise and enthusiasm on all things branding, marketing, and communications through this podcast and through my other content, I also work as a consultant and coach with organizations who are determined to become known as top-of-mind employers and workplaces in their own industries. And before we go on to this exciting episode, I just want to clarify who this podcast is for. And it is obviously for those of you who want to learn how to use branding, marketing, and communications for your personal success in your career, as well as for the business success that you represent. You could be an HR professional, you could work in talent acquisition, you could work in employer branding, in marketing communications, or, you may want to become a thought leader or even planning a career as a solopreneur in the broader HR field and want to learn how to use branding, marketing, and communications in ways that persuade, make an impact, influence, and represent the human-to-human side of marketing. With that long intro, let's go and talk about the future of employer branding, developing employer branding careers. So we both know that employer branding landscape has become massively popular over the recent years as more and more organizations and businesses, especially growth businesses, have grasped the importance of becoming much better known and more competitive as employers due to their crippling talent attraction and retention challenges. And you only need to type employer brand manager on the LinkedIn search bar, and you'll get an ever-ending list of people working in employer branding. And as someone who has dedicated her entire career to modernizing HR, recruiting, and employer branding, it's time to help you see, if you haven't yet, what the future of employer branding presents for you as we approach 2024. Now, a couple of years ago, I introduced the idea of a modern talent marketing team for the first time. And I even wrote an ebook on what I felt were the 6 pivotal roles in modern talent marketing team at the time. And you can download this ebook for free from my LinkedIn and Instagram profiles, as well as on the show notes page for this episode. You can find those at modernemployerbrand.com/podcast 163 for this episode. I think I probably need to update that ebook at some time in the near future, because I think that, I see a development in this concept of a modern talent marketing team and in the roles. But I mean, it's still very fresh, I would say, because most organizations do not have talent marketing teams. They're not like Visma in Finland, who does. And for most organizations, employer branding is still more recruitment marketing than actual employer branding. So I think that ebook is still very visionary, but I think it's inspirational in terms for if you want to sort of plan your career future, your career journey ahead, and kind of like want to figure out the directions that you could go or choose, or professional development areas that you could kind of touch upon. So I think that it's a really good ebook for that. And I remember when I first launched it and shared it on the employer branding group on Facebook, I got some comments where people would say like, oh, we don't have the budgets to have, teams like that. And I didn't mean, and I still don't mean that you have to like have the budget to hire all these people. You probably even can't, because the world just doesn't have all these people available to us in employer branding yet. But it's more like, think of that book as a source of inspiration of the directions that you could go towards, or the sort of the areas of development that inspire and attract you, that you could actually professionally develop in, and build a kind of a role that inspires you, kind of like picking from different areas. I mean, if I think of myself and the sort of the skill set that I have in talent marketing, I am picking from multiple roles into what my role is. Okay, so one of the roles in my idea of a talent marketing team is more important than any other role in this team. And that role is the role of an employer brand manager. This is the person who owns employer brand perceptions of the organization, who manages the employer branding strategy, activities, and the budget. This role is super pivotal if you actually intend to drive results from employer branding. And I'm talking about the kinds of results that actually can make you proud and make your business management look again and say, whoa, this person is really up to something valuable with employer branding. And we should definitely give them a proper budget, proper support, proper resources, and let them on their way to deliver us more results like that. That's what I'm talking about, those kind of results. The roles of internal and external employer brand managers are going to be pivotal for smart and business savvy employers in the future, because you want to focus on both retaining your existing talent as well as attracting the talents that your business needs in the future. And that's why I see both being essential in championing a company's reputation as a desirable employer, though they approach it from unique vantage points. For those immersed in HR talent acquisition, marketing, employer branding, digging deeper in these roles, I think will be a great progression step for your career, kind of paving the way for the professional education and evolution that you may want to have yourself. And I spoke about owning the employer brand and the budget in 2 episodes of this podcast in the past. Those were episodes 102 and 113. So write those down for yourself. Save those on your podcast player, because if you're interested in this topic, you really want to listen to those episodes as well. And I also talked about why your business marketing may not be the ideal owner of the employer brand, hence become the employer brand manager. And I talked about that on episode 110. So also pin that for yourself to listen to those. Let's start with internal employer brand managers, because this is a little bit different to everything that we've talked about in those previous episodes as well. So I wanna like open up this side of employer brand management. This I think is a really great role and an excellent career development step for HR people, not so much marketing and communications people, not so much those HR people who are really into marketing and want to work more on the sort of the content marketing and social media marketing side. So this is a great role for those who are deeply into working with employee experiences, company culture, and developing that employer brand competitiveness from inside the organization. If you like a little bit of communication, then I would kind of attach internal communication to this side as well, especially in that modern way that I've been talking about, which is not the old-fashioned way of kind of pouring one-way communication to the internet, but actually building a platform for dialogue and conversation among the people, and educating people on how to become better internal communicators and conversationalists, because that's the modern approach to internal communication. So I think I'm going to refer to this role as the employer brand product manager, because I've also mentioned that many times on this podcast. This is the person who is responsible for that product that the external employer brand manager is then promoting and marketing and building awareness of externally. So the internal employer brand product manager is responsible for the attractiveness and competitiveness of the product that I call the employee experiences and the company strategic culture. That's the foundation for the magnetic employer branding method as well. This is the way I believe, and we believe at my agency, employer branding agency, Emine, of what employer branding needs to be. Now, imagine a storyteller who weaves narratives, not just with words, but with lived experiences within that company. That is your internal employer brand manager. They are the voice and the ears for your company culture, the ones who know the heartbeat of your organization, who understand and nurture those positive employee experiences from day one onwards. And these professionals don't just communicate the brand internally, they live it, they breathe it, they nurture it from inside out. They are the strategic thinkers who align the company's values with those employee experiences, ensuring that the internal reality matches the external promise. So you understand how vital, how essential, how pivotal the role of the internal employer brand manager really is. Their role is to inspire loyalty, to transform employees into brand ambassadors who genuinely love where they work. This authenticity is the magnet for those top talent, an inspiration and aspiration for anyone in HR and talent acquisition. And I think that in this role, you're kind of like the gatekeepers of the company's reputation and the custodians of the corporate soul, if you like. What do you think about that? Okay, on the flip side of the coin, which is not the dark side nor the bad side, are the external employer brand managers. And with the word external, I don't mean that this is the person who doesn't work in your organizations. I don't call myself the external employer brand manager when I work as a partner with our clients, helping them to build their employer brand. External employer brand manager refers to an employee in your organization who manages the employer brand perceptions outside your organization. So focuses on your external target audiences, your future candidates, applicants who you want to become your employees one day. Now, they are the managers who own, implement, and execute the employer brand marketing strategy externally using communications and marketing as their tools. External employer brand managers are, especially in my method, the magnetic employer branding method, they're the architects of powerful narratives that really strike a chord with your prospective candidates and future employees. And in this role, you are the dedicated individuals who chart the course of the company's brand narrative from inside out, ensuring that every thread of your story, every thread of your employer brand story aligns with your organization's culture, your values, your vision, your mission, and invites your target audience into this story. And I want you to see yourselves as the creators of your employer image, where you coordinate and manage all those facets of employer brand through content creation. And day to day, you focus on building employer brand awareness, growing employer brand affinity, and returning business-worthy value from all the employer brand marketing investments back to the business. Now, external employer brand managers manage and coordinate content ideation, creation, and marketing unless you have an and now don't think that I'm saying that you need to have the budget for all these, because if you look at that ebook, I have a separate role for the employer brand content manager. So that would be like in the future where your management values employer branding so much that you actually have proper resources for it. But when they don't yet, because they haven't seen all value that you can deliver, let's say that as the external employer brand manager, you are also the employer brand content marketing manager with the responsibility to ensure that all employer brand content and recruitment marketing content, for that matter, is created and posted, delivering your key messages that enable you to strengthen those desired employer brand perceptions. You may personally also be involved in creating compelling content and innovative recruitment marketing campaigns that resonate with your ideal recruits. You may also be part of using marketing and content, social media content to cast your company as a leading place to work, helping your recruiters, obviously, to do their jobs if you are into marketing and communications. But I can tell you that even if you were not a marketing and communications like a creator, like content creator, there's a lot to manage with those employer brand perceptions externally. And therefore, it can be a role of its own, even though if you were not actually creating content, like copywriting content. But being involved and managing all this, you know that it's not just the employer brand content that's in line with the employer brand strategy, but also the recruitment marketing messages and content speak the same employer brand story through your company's recruitment campaigns and processes. And if you're using external recruitment partners, even more important to manage those employer brand perceptions. So those would be your very important stakeholders. And I think that the external employer brand manager owns the employer brand marketing strategy and the budget. And the internal employer brand manager owns the company culture, for example, and all that development and innovation, including employee satisfaction surveys, things like that. If you would work with any of our agencies, employer branding clients, as the employer brand manager, you would bring your magnetic employer brand strategy into play and enjoy this systematic and data-driven approach with the magnetic employer branding master plan or blueprint, keeping you obviously on the course and staying on the top of the game while delivering that noticeable and decided value back to the business. So let's talk about a career path in modern employer branding. So for those in marketing and communications, the role of employer brand manager, I would want it to be a calling for you. I would want it to be something that aspires to you because of that human to human angle that I spoke about in last week's episode. This role is definitely suitable and inspirational for innovators, creators, those who are really passionate about shaping the company cultures and perceptions and sort of storyfying the internal employee experiences. And whether, internal or external, these professionals, I think, are the real architects of the workplace of tomorrow, which makes both roles super aspirational career opportunities. So stepping into the shoes of an employer brand manager means that you are taking command of the narrative. You are strategizing, you are implementing plans that draw in and keep in the best talent. So you are impacting your attractiveness as an employer and the retention. I want these roles elevate you professionally and personally, give you this path to becoming the ghost writer or the architect for positioning the organization, the employer, as the guide and the mentor for your employees now and in the future, like I talk about in this magnetic employer branding method. Now, since you are listening to this podcast, I figure that you're probably interested in embracing your career journey to master modern employer branding. Whether your direction will be the external side, becoming the strategist, executing the employer branding strategy that attracts and magnetizes externally, or as the internal architect who is responsible for the culture, for the value, implementing, executing those, getting everyone in the organization to understand what are we here for? What's the purpose? What's the mission? What's the customer promise that each of us deliver through our work, even if we were not directly working with the customers? The architect, the internal architect who works to retain let's say, the crème de la crème of talent. Now, why not grow with your current role? Let that role take you to places in the world of modern employer branding, literally. Yeah, literally. Now, if you are a seasoned professional or an aspiring newcomer in HR, talent acquisition, marketing, or employer branding, I think that both of these roles, the internal employer brand manager and the external employer brand manager, offer a unique chance for you to make a significant impact in your career. Doesn't have to be today, but putting your mind to it, focusing that this is the direction that I want to go for, this is what I want to learn, this is who I want to become professionally. That way. I think these are not just positions. I mean, for somebody like me who has devoted their entire career for this, innovating, creating, really building this concept and this, the whole the industry, employer branding industry, these are really gateways to becoming key contributors in your company's business journey and sculpting the fabric of your workforce. And as you explore the depths of these roles, I want you to promise me that you're not just merely managing the brand, that you're really proud of what you're doing, that you are actually crafting legacies. Now, step into that limelight, aim for a career as an employer brand manager because it's inspiring, it's empowering, it's calling for you. If this episode inspired you, even just one bit, can you please contribute towards a little survey? This is a very short survey that we have open currently at the time of launching this podcast episode, because we are planning to introduce a certified magnetic employer brand management program in 2024 at our talent marketing school. And right now we are collecting wishes, we're collecting preferences, we're collecting feedback and ideas from people who could consider this remarkable career for themselves. Responding to that very short survey, you don't have to ever purchase the program. So it's not like you are confirming that, yes, with this feedback and ideas, I definitely want to be part of this. I just want to hear your thoughts. As said, we are revamping the entire talent marketing school. That's why I haven't spoken about it for a while, because it's under construction. What we tried the first time didn't really work for us. So we took it back to the ideation board. And now we're revamping it. So contributing your ideas and your feedback and wishes, I promise it will only take a couple of minutes of your time, but it will mean the world to us. And it could mean the world to you as well. And that way you will help us continue to guide you in your career and in your work in employer branding and other HR marketing. The link to this survey is available on the show notes for this episode at modernemployerbrand.com/podcast163. I had put it on the podcast players post as well for this episode. But since I'm using a Libsyn service who RSS feeds the episode with the episode information to various platforms, I'm not sure whether the link is going to break at some point. So if it's not a working link on the podcast player that you're using, go to modernemployerbrand.com/podcast163 and it's there. It's also pinned on my Instagram profile at Rantanen Susanna, and it's also in the bio links. Now, remember, it is about finding where your passion meets your purpose, isn't it? And that's how it's been for me all these, well, a while. I don't want to say how old I am. I don't really mind saying how old I am, to be honest. I'm 48 right now, and I've had a long career, but I've never stopped to think that I already know everything. I have, and I'm still investing hours and hours and hours every single week during my vacations as well, developing my skills, my acumen, because the world changes all the time and there's nothing guaranteed in this world but change. So unless you're staying on the top of it, or preferably a few steps ahead like I'm trying, then you're just lagging behind all the time. Okie dokie, I'm kind of losing my train of thought here, so it's better to call it up for this week. We're going to take some time off during the holiday season here at Employer Branding Agency Emine, but this podcast is going to be scheduled to appear throughout the holidays on every Wednesday, even though we are stuffing ourselves with chocolate, at least I will be, and enjoying the Finnish winter here in Finland with our nearest and dearest. So thank you for tuning in to Building a Modern Employer Brand podcast. Join us next week as we continue to explore this fascinating world of modern employer branding. Until then, keep building your brand, keep building yourself, keep enjoying your life. Happy holidays. Moi moi.